Hello everyone, and welcome to a quick Stata tutorial sponsored by the FHSS Research Support Center here at BYU. Today we'll be talking about how to reshape your data from wide to long and from long to wide, and also how to do this with or without an ID variable. So we're going to be using a data set from the web, so we type in web use reshape1, that's the name of the data set, comma clear. And as you can see up here, we've got our ID, sex variables, and then variables from 80, 81, and 82. And what we want to do, we'll look at this real quick, so I'm typing list. We've got our unique identifier, ID. We've got our sex variable or gender variable, male and female. And then we've got income for each observation from 1980, 81, 82. And what we want to do is to stack this so that instead of having one person with multiple waves of data, we're going to have multiple observations with a single wave of data. So what we want to do is reshape this from wide to long. So we're going to type in reshape long. And now we need to input our stubs. So as you can see here, inc and UE are going to be our stubs because we have 80, 81, and 82. That's how we're going to be stacking it. But we're going to have a unique column for income and a unique column for whatever UE stands for. So we have inc and UE. And now we need to tell it, so you have to put in a comma, because we need to give it a unique identifier. So we type in I parentheses, and for us, our unique identifier is called ID. And then we type in J parentheses. Now we're going to be creating a new variable because it still has to distinguish between 80, 81, and 82. So for us, we're going to be calling that year. You might call that wave. You might call that I don't know, number the fourth, fifth car that you have, kind of a thing, if you have different characteristics on cars, whatever. For us, we're calling it year. So let's go ahead and press enter. And it gives us this little output, and it says from wide to long. We used to have 3 observations, so as you can see, 1, 2, 3. But now we're going to be having 9 because it's 1, 2, 3 times the 3 years. 3 times 3 is 9. Number of variables went from 8 to 5. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it's going to 5 because we have these 2 variables that don't change. We have income and UE, that makes 4. But the 5th one is this new one that we created right here, which is called year. And then also you can see right here, these income variables are now going to be in the income variable, and UE is UE. So let's go ahead and list this and see what it looks like. So as I said before, we've got 3 copies of 1, 3 copies of 2, 3 copies of 3. So we stacked it based on 80, 81, and 82. And as you can see, income is 5,000 in 1980. Income in 1980 is 5,000. So we're doing well for ourselves. Let's go ahead. We'll be using this data set later, so let's go ahead and save this and call it Reshape1A. And then I'm typing in replace just because if I happen to already have it, it'll go ahead and save over it without giving me problems. I don't, so it just saves it, so it's fine. All right, so now we're going to be doing this again. So let's type in web use reshape1 clear. So we're going back to the wide data set because what I want to show you guys is what happens when you don't have an ID variable. So let's go ahead and drop ID and list. So now we don't have a unique identifier. So what do we do? Because sometimes your data looks like this. You've gathered it from, you've received it from some third party, or you gathered it and just didn't have a unique identifier. So what we can do is we can actually create one by using the gen command. So type in gen, give it a name. I'm just going to call it ID again, but you can call it number or whatever you want. Equals, and we're going to type in underscore lowercase n. What this is going to do is every observation is going to get a new number. So let's go ahead and press enter and list. So now that it's the newest variable, it's over here on the right, and as you can see, we get a 1, 2, 3, and then everything proceeds as normal. So that's wonderful. If you don't have a unique identifier, you can create one. And then just remember that when we need to type in reshape, and then we are going too long from wide, and you have to spell it right. We've got our stubs inc and UE. Our unique identifier is ID, or whatever you called the unique identifier. And then our new variable is called year. And then we list, and look, it's good to go. All right, so now if we want to reshape this back, we can, and if you didn't get back to this data set for whatever reason, you can just type in use, because we saved this data set before, reshape 1a, comma clear. If you did get to that data set, then you can just leave it and you're fine. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to reshape this back from long to wide, so we type in reshape wide. We need to give it what the stubs are, so ours are inc and ue, and then we tell it the unique identifier, such as ID, and then the variable that we are going to be getting rid of. So ours, you type in J and parentheses, and then what's the variable you're getting rid of? Year. As you can see, this is the exact same syntax as long without the long. It just says wide. That's the only difference. And so now you can see right here it says year was dropped. And so whatever was in the year has now been concatenated onto the income and UE variables, or whatever we put in here for stubs. So let's go ahead and look. And as you can see, it's back to normal, aside from the fact that it's arranged differently. And that's also one thing important to remember, that it's going to arrange it by year now. So it's not exactly the same, but you can always order that and change it around. And that is a quick and easy way to do Reshape. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.